Welcome back to our channel In Search of Research, where you learn the concept of research and data analysis. In this video, we'll discuss on basics of sampling, and as a scholar, you should know all this basic terminology for the sampling technique so that you can apply in your research. So, before we move on to the uh, different terminology that is focus of our video, let's briefly discuss about why we need sample in research. uh, Practically it is not possible for the researcher to include every unit or every individual they are interested to do research, because it is costly and time taking. So we need sample which is a representative of the individuals or the units, where the researcher can apply the research technique on this subset or the representative of the individuals or the units, and they draw some findings, and that findings can be applied to all the individual or the units the researchers interested for. So uh, from here we can say that sample is a subset of the population, includes some elements from the population. So there are two terms we need to understand. First one is population, then second one is the elements. So it is clear that sample is the subset of the population, includes some elements from the population, right? So next one is the population. So population means any group of people or units the scholars wants to include in his or research, or in his or study, and and uh, and this population can be it's a small group or large group. So it is clear that population is the interest of a scholar, or the objective of the research is to study a group of individuals or the units, and this can be small or can be large. For example, if a researcher wants to study, let's say, a job satisfaction of top management in listed companies in India. So here the group is, or the population is small. Why? Because generally the top management means, let's say, executive levels. The 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 individuals are limited in number. So this is the example of small group population. And in another example, let's say uh, one researcher wants to study the job satisfaction of mid-level employees in IT industry. Then here the generally the mid-level managers number is very high in every organization. So here the population is large group. So the population can be small or large according to the interest of the research. So next terminology is element. So what does it mean by element? Element is the single member of the population. Take the example, second example I have given. If someone interested to do research on job satisfaction among the IT employees, mid-level IT employees, the here element means every single mid-level IT employee, right? So that is called element. and element comprises of the by population. So next one is the sample frame. This is very important, and if you are interested for quantitative research and you want to do a proper sampling without any bias, then sample frame is the first requirement to draw sample. So what does it mean by sample frame? All the elements we have discussed of the population with proper identification that is available to us for selection at any stage of sampling, right? Take the example of same example, like if researchers want to do research on job satisfaction among IT employees, here the sample frame, for example, let's say researchers wants to take two big companies, let's say uh, TCS and Infosys. Then here the sample frame is every list of all the mid-level IT employees ID combined of TCS and Infosys. Means you should create a list of all the employees, maybe with their name or employee ID, because you are interested for these two companies only. So your population is the two company, means your population restricted within these two company, and your population is mid-level employees, right? And sample frame means you should make a list of all the employees name or ID, so that you can choose element or the mid-level IT employees from that list only. So sample frame is all the elements of the population with proper identification. Maybe it's a name or the ID, right? So that is called sample frame. Next one is the your sample unit. When you have sample frame and when you start drawing sample from the sample frame, because now you have the list and you draw the sample maybe randomly, right? When you draw sample from the sample list, that element, that single element available or included in the sample is called sample unit. Means now if your all the employees ID is in your hand and you are drawing this employee ID, means until the employee ID in the sample frame, you called it as a element of the population, and when you included that particular element into your sample because you want to create a subset of the IT employees, then that element now called sample unit. This is very important. As a scholar, you need to know what is the difference between sample unit and element. Next, two ways you can draw the sample from the sample frame, either probabilistic or non-probabilistic. So let's briefly discuss about probabilistic and non-probabilistic. In probabilistic sampling technique, every element, means every, for example, every IT employees in your sample frame will get equal chance being selected. So here the biasness is less because every employee has equal chance to being selected or to being included into the sample. So biasness is less, and it is also called random sampling, right? So and to conduct probabilistic sampling, you must have the sample frame without sample frame you cannot go for probabilistic sampling. Means you should have all the identification or the name to draw the sample. And to draw probabilistic sampling you can follow lottery method. This is very traditional method used by the researchers. Or you can follow random number generation. There are, you can generate random number in Excel, or there is a very good website that is called random.org. You can use that website to generate random numbers, and based on this random number you can collect or you can draw the sample from the sample frame. And second one is the non-probabilistic sampling, where there is no randomization followed by the researchers. Researchers choose sample based on their convenience or the judgment, so biasness is high. And in nutshell, we can say that probabilistic sampling can be used in quantitative research, and in non-probabilistic sampling, basically it is used by qualitative researchers. Means if you are doing a qualitative research, you can follow non-probabilistic sampling. So next, let's briefly discuss about how to draw sample in probabilistic sampling method. First, you should have the population, the yellow one here. For example, let's say one researcher wants to know what is the attitude of the generative AI users towards generative AI platforms, because different generative AI platforms are available nowadays, like chat gpt or Gemini. And one researcher interested what is the users attitude towards these platforms, it is a positive attitude or negative attitude. So for this kind of research, the population is the generative AI users in a particular geographic area or in a particular city or in a particular organization. And sample frame, maybe the company database list of all the generative AI users. Either either the you can get the list of all the users from the company. Basically companies don't allow the means to access all this database, because for the sake of privacy. But hypothetically, if we think that where do you get the sample frame for this kind of research, maybe you ask the all the list of the generative AI users in a particular city. Means those who are registered in different generative AI platforms. You can get that list, and from that list or the sample frame, let's say you draw the sample, let's say 300 generative AI users, you calculated the sample size, and you draw 300 generative AI users, and you can apply your research methods, right? Or you collect data from the AI users, and you draw the findings, and you can generalize these findings by using the sample into your population. So in this way you can draw sample if you are doing probabilistic sampling method. Thank you. So this is from my side about basics of sampling. And uh, I will come up with another video, and there I will try to explain different sampling techniques under probabilistic sampling and non-probabilistic sampling. So if you like this video, kindly share and subscribe our channel. I will meet in the next video. Thank you.